What is going on, everyone? My name is Boit, and I am back with some more Age Mythology, the Titans action. Spawning in the top of the map in the blue color, playing as Set. His name is Joe from the DoD clan. His opponent today in the red color, playing as Odin. His name is GrandMonster. The map is Watering Hole. This is the third game of the best of three series between these two players in the RTS-Sanctuary Christmas Tournament knockout stages. Joe's playing really well. GrandMonster's playing really well. Joe has decided to change his god away from Isis. He's now going to be playing Set. I feel like he thinks that he needs to have a little bit of an edge in the early game, which is what Set gives you over Isis. Isis generally struggles at the very early stages of the game, like 4 minutes to 5 minutes, just because she can't really advance that quickly and have an army that strong, as opposed to Set, who can get his priests, get some of those lions, get some of those elephant, and then get a couple more priests with his pharaoh, advance quite fast and do a lot of damage. Set also has access to Tar, which means that Set can do very disgusting Shifting Sands plays. In Voobly Balance Patch 3.0, you can no longer Shifting Sands villages, which is, I think it's great. I mean, enemy villages. You can Shifting Sands your own villages, so you can still village rush, but you can't Shifting Sands enemy villages, because of how strong it was. If you advanced at like 4 minutes and 10 seconds or something, go on Shifting Sands your opponent's 3 villages and an ox cart, it was just nothing that Norse could do against it, and it was just unfair. So Voobly Balance Patch team decided to remove that. Instead, because of that, they've actually found, Set players have actually found perhaps an even stronger strategy, which sometimes is a stronger strategy, which is a similar advance time. But if you get caught out as Norse hunting outside of your base, they can cast a vision, spot that, then Shifting Sands their entire army with all of their animals and their couple of priests and a pharaoh, and they can easily pick off more than 3 villages at the 4 minute and 30 second mark. It's very strong. So we'll see if that's what Joe decides to do. Joe's a big fan of the Anubis play though, so we might see Joe simply picking Set because he wants to have that pressure with the extra animals to defend against the early aggression and still go for that sort of Anubis play. However, it looks like that's not what's going on here. He's not put any villages onto wood, which means he's not staying in the classical age for too long. He's almost got that 1,000 gold. He hasn't chucked up his first monument, so he's probably going straight to that classical age, and he's going to go from there, I reckon, probably through that Tar, and he's already got his line. He's moving forward, so he's looking for some resources. He's spotting this huge gazelle pack here. That being said, though, there are these hippopotamus here, so GrandMonster can simply just advance to the classical age through Heimdall or through Freya and grab his watchtower to defend against anything that Joe does, so that's totally fine for him if he plays that way. We just see that temple going up, so it is going to be very fast advance time. Going to be about that 3 minute 15 to 3 minute 20 second mark, and he's got the food, so he's going to have to start shuffling his villages around. We're going to see what he does. Generally, after this attack, Set players grab their second town center and then go to the heroic age. They don't generally stay in there. Oh, he's building another villager. I think that was a mistake. I think he meant to grab that Tar a little bit earlier. But looks like he's going for 5, 6, 7, 8... Is that 9 villages on the gold? Going for that 9 villages on the gold through Tar. If we go to GrandMonster's perspective, he's going through Freya, so he's changing things up. I actually think if he just went Heimdall this game as well, did he scout out? He didn't actually manage to get that scout onto his enemy. I actually think Heimdall was the right choice in this matchup as well. You just use that undermine on this watchtower, and you can actually line it up with this watchtower and kill both of these watchtowers. It's totally possible to get 2 watchtower kills with that undermine, and then you can just put so much pressure onto this gold mine. But that being said, Set does have such a strong early game. Putting that pressure on that early might spell defeat. So he's playing very safe. He's got this nice temple and house placement, which means if the Shifting Sands comes onto here, it's not going to do too much. That being said, though, if we jump over to Joe's perspective, he's not really scouting out that well. He's not spotted the food source here. He doesn't have any units over here to see. He's not going to be doing this Shifting Sands play, it looks like. He is moving forward. He's going to be grabbing this town center. If we jump over to GrandMonster's perspective, his Ravens are scouting out, and there is a waypoint right here. So he is going to see that location. He's going here, then here, then here, then here. So he is going to see this location going up. He's going to see a town center being built there by Joe. And I'm interested as to whether or not GrandMonster is going to be going for that early second town center himself. He's not going for it. He's not going for it at all. He's only got 4 villages on the wood. So he's playing very standard vanilla strategy here, which is build 3 longhouses. It looks like 3 longhouses. Nope, he's grabbing pickaxe at the moment. A little bit of a late pickaxe there. So he's normally, you get those 3 longhouses, spam a bunch of raiding cavalry, and then you go Scardy and you try and just play really solid. And you totally can beat set with this strategy. Especially if no damage comes to you. We do see that town center's up already. Barracks going out for Joe, so Joe's not even going straight to the heroic age. Grabbing that barracks, going to be building some of those spearmen. And sometimes you can see Egyptian players doing this strategy where they put so many villages on food and wood that they can spam 130, 145 population worth of spearmen and still get to that mythic age at like the 12-minute mark or something crazy like that. That might be an over-exaggeration, maybe like the 13 or 14-minute mark with like full spearmen. Go through Horus, spam, and then get those Horus upgrades for your spearmen as well as a tornado and your opponent's 3rd town center. And you can easily take the game with that, or at least force some defensive god powers. Because you see another barracks coming up. No villages on wood yet for Joe. Does he have pickaxe? He doesn't even have pickaxe. I'm surprised he hasn't just chucked 1 or 2 villages onto wood in order to grab that pickaxe, but looks like he doesn't need it. He's chucking up that armory right now. A little bit early, but it's going to do. Always want to get it up. It costs no resources, and if your villages are not doing anything, it's totally fine. Grabbing those extra houses. If we jump back over to GrandMonster's perspective, I think he's going to be building throwing axemen. So he's looking to go to that heroic edge very, very fast at this point. So he's going to go through. I assume he's going through Scardy. I wouldn't be surprised if he did do some sort of what do you call it? I can't even speak. Njord play. If he goes through Njord, then he can grab those Ulf Jarls or Jarls with those Ring Giver upgrades, and they're so strong. There's really no strong counter to them as Egyptian. However, they're so expensive that you can trade enough units to make it okay. So they're kind of like an elephant now, in that there's no real good answer to them, but they cost so much that the trading, that you need to just trade well with them essentially, and it's fine. We do see more dwarves being produced and villages. He's getting the resources up. He's grabbing that second town center. He's going to chuck an armory up soon. Not building any units. We do see that units are coming in now. Going to be attempting to take this wall down. Once this town center comes up, that's going to be in range to stop this attack happening. He's going to have to retreat. Jumping back over to Joe's perspective, he's grabbing a 3rd town center. That's a little bit aggressive there. That being said, there's nothing to stop him from doing this. So grabbing this town center basically means all he has to do is defend this location. He's going to be totally fine. We do see this town center's up, and Joe's going to be retreating there. He's spotted that location, and it's going to be totally fine there for him to say, okay, I'm just going to retreat here. This is very nice walls here for GrandMonster. He's not going to be taking any raids, and it's going to be totally fine. 3rd town center for Joe though, potentially the answer here, once your opponent grabs this, especially a set, once your opponent grabs these middle town centers, sometimes it's better to not try and fight it and just go straight to the Mythic Age. If GrandMonster decides that he can go Njord and then Tyr, cast like Forest Fire on this location, Walking Woods on this location, and Thimblewinter on this location, and then make an attack, then he may be able to take this location back with those 3 god powers as well as his army. Could be the right choice there for GrandMonster, or just go for a really strong Scardy play with his heroic age. Chuck down a couple of those hill forts, get some portable rams going, get some throwing axemen with those special upgrades to deal with the spearmen that Joe has. You get that Scardy, special Scardy upgrade for your throwing axemen that deal so much damage, and they stop being a rubbish unit. We do see quite a few villages on the wood as well, so it kind of looks like he's going to be going for those, maybe like Huskar throwing axemen play, very, very strong. There's not a lot of answer to that as Egyptian, apart from just like playing well and getting out Axemen and Spearmen, and maybe even some Chariot Archers. But we'll see what goes on there. If we jump over to Joe's perspective, he's also going through Nephthys. So he's managed to get to the Heroic Age at about the same time as GrandMonster. Maybe a little bit delayed just because he's grabbed that extra town center. But that's a huge win for him, being able to get there at such a good point in the game. He's also finally put some villages onto that wood now. He's still not grabbed Pickaxe, which does make me feel a little bit bad for him. He does need to grab that one. He's got some idle villages back here on the granary, and he's doing very, very well. He's grabbing that 4 town center. I'm not sure about this one. Grabbing 4 town centers means that you basically, I mean, it's just the balls in GrandMonster's court at the moment. If he makes the right decision, does decide to go, maybe he could just go for an attack on this location, or he can do so much stuff. But I think maybe if he just spams units and makes that push onto here with a Mythic Age timing, maybe he's going to be totally fine. We'll see if he does manage to do that. So it's all up to Joe to defend at this point. If we jump over to Joe's perspective, he's grabbing Husbandry, he's grabbing Pickaxe, he's getting Scorpion Men out. He's got a fair bit of favor coming in now, but I think he's only got the 1 monument, so that's what that is. Valkyrie is scouting out a little bit at this point in time, however, not actually spotting anything worthwhile in this location here. She's just going to be chilling. We do see Raven scouting again, and more villages getting produced now for GrandMonster. This is such an odd thing when you play Set, because normally when you play Egyptian, you get control of the map, but Set's like the other way around. He gets control of the map, so you have to adapt a little bit. We do see another hill fort going up for GrandMonster. GrandMonster's spamming, throwing Axemen and Huskarl against what Joe's doing, which is going to be, looks like he's got that Migdos Stronghold up. He's got Spearmen coming. He's not producing any more Spearmen at this point in the game. Still empowering this Migdos Stronghold for some reason, so I'm not sure why that's happening. Scorpionman's going to beat that Valkyrie if it fights, so Valkyrie's going to be retreating back into the base of GrandMonster. And we do see that a Siege Workshop is going up now for Joe. So interested if he is producing some of those Chariot Archers, and he is not producing anything more. So I'm interested, is he just going to go straight to that market and go for that his own Mythic Age, which would be so greedy, but it's really it's basically a greedy strategy. We do see that GrandMonster is now coming out of the map here. We do see that Forest Fire is getting cast right on this location, so you're going to force Joe to retreat now, and we're going to see this keep pushing in. We do see that heavy infantry has been grabbed there for GrandMonster, so this timing push is going to be very, very strong. He does have access to Frost as well, so he's going to be able to cast Frost on an Ancestor as it does get cast. Elephant going to get picked off straight away. These throwing Axemen do not have that upgrade just yet, the Skadi upgrade just yet, so he's going to be throwing in all he can. GrandMonster is getting that Shifting Sands gets cast, so a bunch of those throwing Axemen do get taken away here, as well as some Huskarl. We do see that a siege tower is going to be coming out right now. These units need to get back over here so this push can keep happening. He's totally winning this. He does not need to retreat at this point. GrandMonster's playing so well. He does need to get out some of those portable rounds, put in some more damage here, as well as potentially some more of those Frost Giants. If we can just move in here and start doing some more damage, it's going to be really, really good. He's got these units, they're just sitting there. That's not what you want to see. You don't want to see these units sitting idle at this point in the game. You see that a Spearman does get picked off there, and the Mercenary are going to fall as well as we keep pushing in. We finally see that these units are moving back into the fray. We do see that this army of GrandMonster is so strong with all of those upgrades. He doesn't have any of those Pierce Armory upgrades either, though. He could afford that. You want to grab those against Egyptians, just because, especially when you're fighting under their town center fire, if you grab those upgrades, you can grab Heroic Age Pierce upgrades at this point. You're going to be in a really good position to win the game. We do see the GrandMonster's got full population, so he's going to be able to keep pushing in here. We do see that he's retreating, though. I don't like this. If you just get those Huskarls to sit on those Chariot Archers, you can do so much damage. We do see that some of those Axemen are now coming out for Joe. So the counter of this army is definitely Axemen. However, with those throwing Axemen, you can pick them off super quickly. We do see a dock coming down for Joe. Little sneaky dock there. Another hill fort now coming up for GrandMonster. He's trying to push in a little bit. He's going to move these Huskarl in, attempt to get onto that line of the Chariot Archers. We do see another War Elephant is out here. This hill fort's going to get up. I'm interested. He's still not producing any of those siege weapons, so none of those are coming out at this point. He's stopped reduction of villages as well, so he's going to be committing to this fight. He wants to win. If he can get this town center from this push, he's going to be in a really nice position to take this game. If we jump over to Joe's perspective, Joe's casting Ancestors. Where's he casting Ancestors? He's casting Ancestors behind the army. So in order to cast Frost on this location, he's going to have to cast around about here in order to get anything, and these Ancestors are going to keep doing damage. So no Frost coming out just yet for GrandMonster. I'm interested as to why that is. Maybe he's just content with killing off the Ancestors and then moving forward, frosting and getting a nice attack on that town center. It's potentially what he's thinking here. We do see that siege towers now moving in. Need to get those frost giants to be casting their special attack on those siege towers so he doesn't do any of that damage. If we jump over to the perspective of GrandMonster, we're going to see that they do not have any of. Well, there is one unit there that does have that special attack casting out on the Ancestors. Still, all of this fight not going too well for GrandMonster. GrandMonster's going to be running out of gold soon. He does have a gold mine in this location though, so he's going to be totally fine. So he does need to get his units back out here. He needs to start pushing through. If we jump over to Joe's perspective, he's sitting at 140 and 140 population, which means he's missing houses. That's not good. He's missing 2 houses for some reason there. But he does have full population of units, basically. 140 of 140 is just a weird thing. He does chuck up that next house there. He's got one more coming up, I assume. And he's going to be... These Huskarls, every time they get onto that line of the Chariot Arch is a really good thing for the Norse player. GrandMonster's back on that full population there. He does want to try and move in here. If he can get in and get this town center down, with that frost is what he's looking for. Or potentially with maybe a Balder play or something else. Moving these villages forward, very sneaky play here. Is he going to get spotted by anything? There is a granary going down here, so he is going to get spotted. We do see that this transport ship is getting filled up. Is GrandMonster going to see this? GrandMonster does see the transport ship, so that is gonna be moving in to this location here, but there is a hill fort already over here. So we do see that that's going to be fairly decent there for GrandMonster to defend against. I think Joe's going to retreat and not actually do anything with this. We do see a bunch of those chariots who do get picked off. Only one chariot archer was in that transport ship actually, and this army is going to get a little bit surrounded here. GrandMonster should probably simply just get fortified town centers at this point. Get to that 140 population. But maybe it costs a little bit too much. His economy is very, very bad at this point. He doesn't have any upgrades, any of those classical age upgrades, shaft mine or quarry. Doesn't have bow saw, so his economy is very, very slow. Some of these, once these axemen get in here, there's no real throwing axemen at this point. Frost is getting cast at this point. Do need to see some more barracks getting thrown up. Need to shift that army towards more raiding cavalry, Ulfjarl at this point. If you get those Ulfjarls out, they can do really, really well against the axemen. And then you've got that kind of swapsy maneuver you can do where your opponent overcommits to axemen, get the Jarls, push in, and you can win that fight really nicely. But it does cost a lot of food to transition there. So GrandMonster's going to be attempting to pick off these units in this frost. Actually, he's retreating for some reason. He feels like he's taking too much damage from like 1 axeman or 2 axemen and a chariot archer. A little bit interesting choice there. We do see that these frost giants are still pumping. Probably still no armory upgrades just yet for... Oh, he does have that pierce armor, but now he needs to think about getting chainmail just to deal with the axemen that are coming out. And we do see that a bunch of those frost giants are going to be picking off those units that are coming in. Migdal Stronghold coming up for Joe at this point. If we jump over to Joe's perspective, he's got a very, very strong economy. Horus coming through. Just casting Horus on this location here. Going to pick off all of these houses, pick off the hill fort as well. And GrandMonster's just kind of moving back into his base. He's falling behind. That's such a fast Mythic age. 15 minutes and 50 seconds. With the 4 town centers and full population, we do see that the tornadoes going up there, picking off 2 houses, going to be picking off the town centers as well, picking off a bunch of villages, and also going to be doing some damage to that army of GrandMonster. And then we're going to see those siege towers change to catapult, and it's going to be very, very difficult. We do see the war barge is coming out now. War barge is going to get picked off though by the hill fort. He's not quite strong enough. We do see the town center does fall for GrandMonster. GrandMonster's army falling as well to that tornado, that frost giant falling as well. Watchtowers going down. This is going to be very, very difficult for GrandMonster to come back for. He's going to be trying to build this town center back up. Hill fort's going to get taken down by the by the siege towers there. The hill fort does manage to stay alive over here from that war barge. When he grabs the Oxy upgrade for war barge, he's going to be able to pick off that location as well. Axeman coming in now, going to be picking off the rest of these heavy Huskar. There's really not much more that GrandMonster can do. He's building some units up here. He's looking for a little bit of a push on that back location of Joe. And we do see that the Chariot Archer is going to be moving through here, going to be attempting to find these gatherers and stop that gold income. More villagers moving up to this location as well. Is GrandMonster going to pull the trigger on this location or not? We should see some villagers moving forward now, attempting to put more buildings and stuff over in this location to pick off that settlement. We do see the priests do have that funeral rites as well in order to do extra damage against the Frost Giant. And he's going to be moving forward with those villagers, grabbing this town center. We do see that the portable rams now moving in. Houses coming up for GrandMonster. This location's probably not going to fall because first Mercenary just come out. Mercenary just come out so quickly, and then they can pick off these. Oh, he doesn't have that much gold though, so maybe he's going to be able to pick off this thing. We do see Migdal Stronghold going up for Joe. Joe might want to get these villagers to be repairing or even picking off these portable rams. We do see that the unit's going to be picking off this location. However, with this town center going back up, it's not going to be that much of a win. It's still... Oh, and that raid coming in here for Joe. Joe picking off all of those villagers at this point. This town center looks like it's maybe going to fall. So many mercenary out at this point in the game as well. So it's not going to be all that much of an issue. GrandMonster decides to say GG. He taps out. Such a good game there by Joe. GrandMonster, I don't know. I think he just like didn't have his game plan in the back of his mind. He lost map control because he didn't fight for it, and then he just couldn't push through. I think he could have put more pressure onto this location here earlier in the game. He was retreating when he probably had the advantage. And when you have the advantage, you got to know, you got to fight, take the losses from the town center, get that town center back. You just can't let your opponent boom off it. And that's what happened there. Joe boomed so hard, managing to produce Chariot Archers as well as villagers. If you can do that and you get away with it, you can get to that Mythic age with a full population army very, very quickly, as we saw that 15 minutes and 50-second Mythic age there off 4 town centers with full population. Absolutely insane. Unfortunately, GrandMonster loses this one 2-1. And that's it. If you like this game, please rate, comment, and subscribe. If you hit that notification bell, you will see my videos as soon as they come out. My name is Boit, and I'm going to see you